All right, today's lesson is going to be about fingernail polish. Hey, wait, it's Carpet Guy. I'm really here. Obviously, you can hear me. Now, I've only got pictures of fingernail polish this time, but this one is an absolutely vital lesson. Now, I'm going to assume that this is going to go out to ladies. I suppose there may be a couple of guys out there using some fingernail polish, but for the most part, this is a ladies' lesson. So here's what we've got. Now, again, I'm just working off a picture here, and I apologize for that little flash. I'll try and keep him kind of hidden there. So notice what we have going on in this particular picture. You can see this area right in here, and then you see this area right in here. So we got two different levels, two different finger. You can almost see it's almost two totally different spots. Now, let me explain what happened here. The area where it's all spread apart right there, that's one of the things that you never, ever, ever, ever do. Well, you can do it if you know how to follow up with it, but what you never, ever want to do with fingernail polish is use fingernail polish remover. I know that that would seem to be the absolute last thing that I would tell you, but that is the first thing, because here's what happened. I have a technical term that I use. I have a lot of technical terms, but this is one of my favorites. Here's the term. Are you ready? You might want to take notes on this, so I'll give you a second to get a pen. Okay, are you ready? I've still never figured out how to spell that. Here, let me tell you that technical term one more time. Because that's exactly what happens. Paint thinner is what fingernail polish is. So here's what happened in this scenario. This little line right here, this was behind, there was a twin bed sitting, probably would have been about right here. So, and then there was a gap, and there was a headboard up on top. It kind of had like bookshelves and stuff that would have been higher up here on the wall, but there was a gap back in behind the bed. Now, this was an interesting scenario because these folks literally had all of their stuff in their home, packed in their garage. They had kind of like an extended dining type area in their kitchen. It was a larger home, about 3,000 square feet. And the other truck was on its way. I think it was coming in from Indianapolis, but it was, coming from farther west. And so they were leaving their house, and the new people were coming in. The night before they're leaving, their daughter is painting her fingernails and goes to put the fingernail polish up on one of the shelves on the bed and drops it. Now, every single bedroom in this house had double doors opening up into it, and all the carpet in the whole 4 bedrooms upstairs in this house was all exactly the same. So needless to say, the night before they're moving out of this house, they've lived there for like 10 years, no major spotting or staining issues. The daughter dumps fingernail polish on it, so of course she panics and goes and gets the fingernail polish, where you can see what it did. If you compare this to this, that's that fingernail polish just spread that fingernail, because it basically is paint thinner. So it spread that fingernail polish just in a big, huge blob versus this one. Now, this one right here, and here's where we get to the tech tip on the fingernail polish. That little tiny thin line, think about it. Fingernail polish is really just nothing more than paint. It's a little thicker than normal paint, but it is, in a sense, actually not even in a sense, it's just thicker paint. It's just designed so it doesn't run. It's a little bit thicker. So when it hits the carpet, it's going to sit there right on the surface. Now, on a cut pile carpet, you can actually take a sharp pair of scissors and snip it right off. And that's exactly what I did right here. This whole thing right here, this big long line of fingernail polish, and plus these couple little spotted areas here and there, I was able to fix that in just a few minutes. This spot right here took me several hours. Literally, I had 2 other guys with me that day when we were cleaning the house. The 2 guys with me cleaned the whole entire house in the time that it took me to take the fingernail polish. Now, it wasn't completely, but I had an hour and a half, 2 hours in that spot. I had to strip out all those solvents. I had to bleach the red out. Then I had to re-dye the carpet back. Now, here's the after picture. You can see that same baseboard running in here. Maybe we'll stick them side by side so you can see them. So you can kind of, I don't know how well this will show up on video camera phone, but I'm trying to block out that flash mark for you. You might see that the fibers in this area, you can kind of see a little bit are slightly different than the other ones. Obviously, I'd been working in that area, but there's the after picture. There's the before picture. I'm going to set those side by side here a little bit farther apart so you can actually see them. But this turned out to be several $100s of repair. I mean, if I was doing just that spot, I would have charged $250, $300 to fix that, which may sound ridiculous, but again, remember, they've got new people coming in. This was like a 50-ounce nylon carpet. If they would have had to replace that bedroom, they could have been in serious legal liability, because obviously the people bought the home with all the carpet matching, and if they would have had to replace one of the rooms, that would have created, I don't know, legal issues, but I mean, it would have been a big, humongous nightmare. So again, the scissors on that little thin spot, that probably didn't even take me 5 minutes. That paint will sit right there on the surface. You can take your scissors and snip it right off. Now here in my home, I actually have a Berber carpet. And I didn't think before I shot this video to go ahead and grab them. But here's what I've done. Now on Berber, you're kind of in trouble, because you would think, because you have a whole bunch of, you know, looped pile carpet. So on a cut pile, obviously all a cut pile is it was woven as a loop like this, and then the loops were cut, and then it made it, you know, a bunch of little fingers. I've had multiple situations with these where, and I didn't think to grab them, where I have a very, like a $40 pair of scissors that I got at a professional beauty supply place that, I don't know if they're cuticle scissors, but they're the cutting end's only about this big, and they're slightly curved and extremely sharp. Excuse me. And I've actually, on cut pile carpet, or I'm sorry, on loop carpet, Berber, I've actually been able to, you know, snip off, you know, even if you catch a couple of those fuzzies, you know, with a big heavy duty pair of normal scissors, you're going to have a hard time cutting, you know, separating in between the fingernail polish and the actual carpet itself. But with a really super fine pair of sharp scissors, you can do that. And I've done it multiple times. So fingernail polish, here's the steps you take. If you spill fingernail polish on your carpet, the very first thing that I recommend that you do is go get a hair dryer. Dry that stuff as fast as possible. It's going to be 100 times easier to deal with if you dry it while it's sitting there on the surface, and that'll also give you time to think about what you're going to do. Hopefully maybe find this video and figure out how to get it out of your carpet, versus putting the fingernail polish remover on it, which is going to make it do what? Oh, I know you're doing it in your head now, aren't you? How'd you do that again, carpet guy? That's exactly what it does. Fingernail polish remover is a solvent. It's going to spread that paint out and disperse it. Now, again, there would be a technique that you could use to get that out, and I'm not going to go through it all here. I'll have to do another video on that one as to how you could actually handle that. And you have a little bit of trouble with the bleaching out part, but and actually, just to give you a simple trick with the solvent, it's just a little bit of a detergent. You know, you'll basically have to use some more solvent to reactivate that solvent, which could be any one of the major brands of stuff that gets stickers and you know, anything off of glass or any sticky stuff off. I don't like mentioning names here on these videos. And then, but this is the critical part of that, then it has to be rinsed and flushed out with a mild detergent solution. Again, a dot about this big here on the end of your finger, in about 6 to 8 ounces of water. You just want enough detergent on there. I like to use the term slickery. You just want enough detergent in there to neutralize those solvents so that they don't eat up the backing of your carpet, and then flush them all back out. We're going back to my shop vac and my water and shop vac thing. We're just adding in a couple of detergents. That shop vac is an absolutely miraculous tool, but you have to use the water, because you have to be careful, because those solvents can be flammable, and if they're sucked up inside your shop vac motor without water going in with her, you're risking an explosion situation. So we have to be careful. That's the reason why you have to sign the waivers before you join any of my situations, is because some of the things I'm teaching you, if they're done improperly, you could be in trouble. So again, no fingernail polish remover on fingernail polish. Dry it with a hair dryer. Trim it off later with a pair of scissors. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Again, this is Carpet Guy. I don't want to see you having to deal with a I crack me up sometimes. Hope you enjoyed that one. Fingernail polish removal for you.